It's the 18th annual Weber Cup, and Europe going for 5 wins in a row. They've been so dominant in recent years, and it's never been done before, 5 wins in a row, but the USA are pushing them all the way this year. This is the way they line up this afternoon. First match of the day is the Team Europe captain, Dominic Barrett, up against Kyle Troup, who's been brilliant this year. Let's hand you over to our commentators for the first time this afternoon, Cass Edwards and Nick Hawley.
Thank you very much indeed, Tony. Yes, Kyle Troup going up against the Team Europe skipper here, Dominic Barrett, in a repeat of the very first singles match at this year's Weber Cup back on Friday evening. Barrett has come a long way since then, when he bowled a tournament low of 232 for him, but he has literally been getting better with every singles match. In contrast, Troup, who bowled a 278 in that first match, has cooled off a little bit, particularly in his last match when he bowled what was for him a very disappointing 224. But that was his only blip in 4 singles matches. Barrett just keeps getting better and better, so you could say this one is finely balanced, because it's unlikely that Barrett can improve significantly on his last score, which really was getting up there, a 278, and you just know that Troup, that 224 will just be a blip. Other than that, he's been bowling plus 270 average, so this one's too close to call.
Nick, it's all to play for. It's a new game, and just to mention, they're on brand new conditioned lane. It's 43 feet of heavy oil, ratio of 3 to 1, so there's 3 times as much heavy oil in the middle of the lane as there is on the outside. Both right-handers. Carl obviously the two-hander.
What you would expect start from the man from North Carolina.
Scores 30 pins for the strike, as we're on the World Bowling Scoring System. It's called the Complete Frame System. Strike is 30, and a spare is what you get on your first ball plus 10. An open frame bringing the obvious pins that you just dropped.
Barrett leaves a solid 10-pin in the corner. That's what you tend to see more often than not. When a player doesn't take all 10, it's usually a pin that's just stuck in the corner that frustrates them.
Both players playing quite tight down the right-hand side of the lane. As I say, there's heavy oil, so they won't be looking to have too much hook on the outside of the lane to start with. Barrett takes a 9 spare, worth 19.
It was so important, going back to last night, Cass, so important really that Sean Rash stepped up and won that last singles match against Martin Larsson, which was a real nail-biter. He won it by just 10 pins, because the Europeans were just on a roll. They'd won 7 out of 9, they'd gone in front, and another victory there would have made it 12-9 and put huge pressure on the Americans coming into this Sunday afternoon session. But Rash just steadied the ship, and Troup is certainly capable of levelling the overall competition at 11 apiece in this race to 19 points. Yeah, Troup looks very, very dialed in here. I told you, Cass, he bowled a 224 last time up in singles competition. You're not going to expect another one of those from this man.
Well, I hear what you're saying, Nick, but he's had a 278 and a 277 already. He's pretty much lined up on this lane. He, like Dom Barrett, likes playing on the fresh oil, the long oil, before it starts to transition, and the oil, of course, moves around as the bowling balls go down. And the players have to look out for any sort of change in reaction of their bowling ball and make adjustments accordingly.
Yeah, it certainly wouldn't be a surprise to see Troup bowling in the 260s, 270s, so Barrett already knows he's got to take those corner pins however you can get them. That could be a very significant delayed messenger coming in and taking that 10-pin out.
Yeah, Dominic actually changed his line there on that shot. Came a little bit left with his feet on the approach and sort of played in and out. And gets a tap on the 10-pin from the very slow messenger. But over it goes, 30 points.
So let's see if Kyle Troup can keep his streak going here. 2 perfect pocket hits, all pins carried. 3 in a row is known as turkey in bowling terminology, and he has just taken his first turkey of this session and is looking very, very good indeed here.
Absolutely dialed into that 1-3 pocket. The two-hander really rips the rack there. Great amount of power and accuracy, obviously. Takes another 30.
Look at this. Well, that's twice it stood up, and it was nearly the 3rd time on the previous frame.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of difference in the angle that the ball is coming in at. Just a fraction light, and that 6 has jumped right round the 10. Leaves it standing there absolutely solid. So Dom's going to get out his spare ball, which will be a harder surface ball, and go straight at it and take the conversion. But that's 2 spares out of 3.
That's not the start he wanted, especially with the way Troup is bowling. 9 spares are not going to get it done for Barrett and Team Europe.
Yeah, 22 pin deficit already after 3 frames, as you can see on the graphic score sheet there.
Now, the only good news there for Barrett is there is plenty of time to try and make this up, as he just talks it over with 1 or 2 of his teammates, Martin Larsson down there. But in order to eat away at that 22 pin deficit, he's got to wait for Troup to give him something to bowl at, and at the moment, through 3 frames, Troup has been flawless, taking his time and slowing things down here. Well, this is not his usual tempo and rhythm, but let's see if it affects his delivery. No, it doesn't, although that was nearly the 7-10 split.
Yeah, great looking shot. Delayed reaction, as you said, Nick, on that 7-pin and the 10-pin. It is a little bit light in the pocket. The 5-pin's gone, the 7-pin's gone, and the 10's gone at last. Yeah, very fortunate. And he knows it. Look at that. Get out of my way, I'm coming through.
Oh, that forces Barrett to get in the strike zone like that. Long overdue, that one, for Barrett. Well, he did get one earlier, I suppose, but that was with a very delayed finish on the 10-pin. But this one is the first real good, solid pocket hit that's taken all 10 clean. And that'll settle Barrett down.
Yeah, already Dom is looking at quite a high hooking ball, playing from mid lane to out and then bringing it back. So it may well be that the line that he's using is already drying up, and he's having to make adjustments accordingly.
Slightly fortuitous strike last time up for Troup.
I'm sure he doesn't care.
No, you take what you get in this business. And there was nothing fortuitous about that. That's a 5-bagger for Kyle Troup. He is halfway to a perfect game.
2 fingers, no thumb. Lots of strikes. Great looking shot. He's actually gone quite wide here. Look at the reaction in the back end. That ball is just really ripping back to the pocket in the last 18 feet of the lane.
We've had a cluster of perfect games in the Weber Cup down the years. I'll come back to that in a moment. As Barrett has to strike now just to stick around. He cannot let this gap grow too much bigger, and that's another one that owed a little bit to Lady Luck.
My word, that was unusual. We'll have a look at this again in slow motion. High on the head pin, leaves the 4, 9 and the 10, and they all decide to fall over. Like some sort of coconut shy, that is, isn't it? Look at that, amazing.
Better to be lucky than good. This fella was both. So he's sticking around, but Troup looking to add another 300 game to the small number. I think we've had 6 in the history of the Weber Cup. 5 of them have come to Americans. Only Paul Moore of Europe, the Yorkshireman from down the road in just outside Beverley in East Yorkshire, is the only European. Tommy Jones was the man that has claimed most of them. But this fella again is just slowing the tempo down a bit now. We've seen him as a very much a rhythm player, but he's just taken his time. He's checked a couple of times here. Hasn't affected his game in any way. But isn't it amazing, Cass? Sorry to interrupt you there. You've bowled 5 strikes and you still haven't got real daylight between yourself and your opponent. He's got Dom Barrett tucked in just behind him, so needs another one here.
Well, it's only 22 pins, and that can turn around in one frame.
Like that. There is the turnaround. Now, it was significant that he checked a couple of times. He got away with avoiding a 7-10 split the last time. He kind of almost psyched himself out of it. I didn't like it the way he just got out of his rhythm there. He really just twitched and fidgeted at the delivery area, and he's left himself the potential for an open frame, and there it is. And Cass, you are working your crystal ball this afternoon, because you said it can change around in one frame, and there is the change around. If Barrett gets a strike here, it's a 1-pin game.
Well, it was a 4-6 split, which is pretty impossible to pick up from a ball that went straight through the face of the number 1 pin. It's unfortunately, these two-handers get so much rotation on the ball. If it's in the pocket, it looks great. If it's out of the pocket, it can tend to leave some very awkward spares and splits, which has just occurred. So, chance for Dom Barrett to get right back within a pin now.
Yeah, has to get a strike here. Yeah, that's game on. This is frame 6. And this is getting very interesting, and Barrett has done the right thing, sticking around, not getting swept away by that fast start from Troup. That's his own turkey.
Yeah, quite amazing. This is another great looking shot from Dom Barrett, who's been pretty much in the pocket every shot. But it's strange, isn't it? Carl's hit 5 strikes to start with, and he's only 1 pin in the lead.
Young Jesper Svensson looking on in the crowd. Interesting to see how the teammates react. Some just get out of it, some stay up in the players' area, some sit in the crowd, like Jesper, like Troup. Oh, he's kicked that 10 out of there with the messenger. Yeah,
And out comes the Afro hair picks, trademark of the flamboyant Carl Troup, whose nickname is Fro.
That messenger came from a long way back.
What a great looking shot that is. Fantastic. Hair raising, in fact.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that. Now he's just going to have to settle himself down again, because this is far from one, but it does just throw the pressure back on Barrett, who is trailing, so he needs to keep striking.
Well, the players are just bouncing pressure back onto one another, frame by frame.
No, that wasn't a good shot. He's lucky to get 9 there. Just drifted out of the pocket.
Yeah, seemed a bit low on speed on that shot, and it hooked up quite early. We are now getting quite a lot of reaction in the back end of the lane as the players' balls come off the corner of the oil pattern. And there you can see the ball's just, oh, well, it's not turning left, but it's certainly snapping hard into the pin deck area. Leaves a 4-pin, which, if he spares, will be worth 19.
Which he does, but a little gap has opened up here after 7 frames, so time running out in this one. Barrett has been behind from the first frame. He's never been out of touch, but he's never been able to get past Troup either, who is, as we've seen, Casa, a very good front runner.
Well, he's been a strike machine from carrying on from last year. He's got a 12-pin lead and a chance to double up here, make 2 strikes in a row. And again, bounce more pressure back onto the European captain.
Well, there was absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is back in the zone.
Yeah, great looking shot. 2 strikes in a row. And of course, every time he hits a strike, it's worth 30 pins.
And 2 more strikes, Troup wins. Simple as that. Whatever Barrett does.
Yes, he'll close the shop, shut him out.
Anything less than a strike here right now for Barrett, and this one will pretty much be done. And he's hooked it away again, out of the pocket, out of luck, and out of this match, you would think.
I would suggest that's pretty much over, yeah. Okay, it looked to me from where I am that the speed was down a little bit Overreaction in the back end leaves the 3-6-10, which is a very makeable spare. 2 spares in a row is not what he needs when Troup's just doubled.
Yeah, the spare is there, but it's not enough for Barrett.
Yeah, 25 pins is the difference with just 2 frames to go.
Well, he's won 3 in a row in singles, but that streak is coming to an end here. The only defeat had come right at the start of Weber Cup singles play against Kyle Troup, so he'll be sick of the sight of the man with the big hair. The only way he gets back into this is a major error from the American.
And interestingly, both players are up next in the doubles match.
That tends to be the way it rolls, isn't it? When they go singles doubles, you keep the guy that's had the hot hand, keep him on, and that settles this point. The Americans are back on terms here.
Yeah, they're going to level it up at 11 each. Kyle Troup is bowling an absolutely great game here. A little bit light in the pocket, but he's got the mix, and the 7 pin's gone. He's bowled 8 strikes and just the 1 open frame. And the glory with the World Bowling Scoring System, it actually increases the score potential.
And that really is the end of the road for Barrett, who also is up, as you say. He is in doubles action right next on this lane, along with Stu Williams, and Barrett's got to get his line back together again here. So whilst the point might be gone, there's a very important spare ball and another very important frame coming up for Barrett to sort his game out, because it's gone right off the rails here.
Well, that last shot was almost a practice shot with another ball, which is what he's just done there. That was a strike ball shot for practice for the next game. He knows this game's lost. There's no point in trying to shoot two strikes. Get another ball, sort yourself out, and then come into the doubles game next.
Troup, meanwhile, as I said, last time in singles play, bowled a 220 game, but 270 has been his benchmark. Other than that, there was no way you could expect he was going to bowl another low one, and indeed he is heading for another 270 game. Look at that, 279. Now that is a Weber Cup high this year. To go with a 277 and a 278 and a 267. Boy, this man is right back on form, and that comes as no shock. So Barrett, with the last ball of this particular match, went for a very wide line, so that was a little tester for him.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. He's testing out his different bowling ball for the doubles game. He's coming in straight away. Spare for 221.
Yeah, that's an absolute pounding win. Really strong statement there from Kyle Troup. This is an important session for the Americans. They've started it the way they will want this Weber Cup to carry on. That's 2 in a row going back to last night for the USA. And just as it looked like the wheels were coming off, they are back in business now, and thanks to Kyle Troup, they've levelled the match up. The series tied at 11 apiece in this race to 19.